she goes.
You going up there?
It's okay, you can stay down here. I noticed the other day that I've got a little problem out here, and I'm going to show you what it is. This gate that I was so proud of to get done here a few months ago is now bent, and really in its current shape it is not usable. Well, I shouldn't say that the gate is bent. The hinge that holds the gate is bent, and I'm not even sure how this happened. I think that maybe the other day when we had the really high winds, we were getting gusts around 60 miles an hour. I don't know if that wind caught this gate and flung it closed or did something to it. You know, with the sheet of plywood on here, it's like a big sail. And maybe that is what damaged the hinge. I'm not really sure. What I do know though is that we can't use it like this. The lower hinge pin is bent so badly that now the latch it's not even close to lining up. In fact, the pin on the latch goes completely underneath where it is supposed to catch. Really the problem here is that as far as these hinge pins have to stick out to clear the boards, makes them significantly weaker because now the gate has a lot more leverage on them and can bend them much more easily, as we've seen here. So the goal today is to get this gate taken down, get the hinge pins out of this post, which is, I'm afraid, going to be a lot harder than I'm hoping it will be. And we'll take the hinge pins back to the shop, use them as a template to make some new, stronger hinge pins that will not fail in this same way. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. That lock washer might be wore out. I don't know. Hopefully that takes some of the weight off of this bolt and it comes out a lot easier now. Okay, I think we need a bigger block. There. Too much. Got it. So I think that was the easy part. The next is going to be the hard part, and that's going to be getting this lower hinge off. If you guys remember when I put this gate up, I had to like pound this thing together, so I have a feeling that I will also have to pound it apart, which is not ideal. But first, I am just going to try to lift it because there's like that 1 in a million chance that that could work. So we'll try it, and then when I fail at that, then we'll start fighting it a little bit harder. Well, that's really not working, so we're gonna move on to plan B, but I'm kind of doing things out of order. First, I need to think of what plan B is, and then I'm gonna do it. Well, looking around my little junk pile here, I've actually come up with an idea. I've got this little short cut off piece around. Looks like maybe it was a telephone pole, not really sure. I didn't put it here, so I don't know what it is, but if I can put that underneath the gate, lift the gate, and roll it, getting it closer to that hinge, then eventually the weight of the gate will be pulling up on the hinge, and then I should be able to just tap the hinge pin out of the gate with a hammer. It sounds like it would work, so let's give it a try. Where we know it needs to go. There. That might do it right there. So you can see how with the log over halfway towards the hinge side of the gate that it changes, you know, where gravity was working against us, now it is helping us out. And this end of the gate is pushing down, which pulls this end up, and I should be able to just tap that right out, no problem. There. Look at that, look at that, look at that, we did it. We did it, Callie. Put this somewhere out of the way. This is heavier than it looks, actually. Doesn't seem like it should be that heavy. Here's a little bit of a better shot of exactly how much this thing has bent. I've got the camera parallel with the post here, and you can see how far that hinge piece is bowed off to the side. That won't even budge. Okay. Well, it should come as a surprise to no one that those nuts absolutely refuse to move, and I've got over 3 inches of thread that they would have to thread off of. All of it is old and rusty. I, should have probably seen this coming. This is gonna have to come off with a grinder, sawzall, something like that. So we're gonna run back up to the shop, get a few more tools, get a little bit more serious about this, and see if we can get these pins out. That's gotta be close. Yep, it was close. Try a little bit different strategy on the top one. There's the rest of the nut there. Come on. Boy, these have been in there for a while. No telling how long. Quite a bit easier. I don't have a tape measure with me, but just by looking at this, I think this is 5/8 rod, and my plan, I think, is to go step this up to 3/4 inch rod. And if they don't make a pre-made hinge piece with 3/4 inch rod, then what I'll do is get some 3/4 inch all thread and then just cut these ends off and weld them on the end of that, and then I'll still have the adjustability, but it'll be a little bit stronger. Also keeping in mind that, originally I had these big ideas of like totally redesigning the hinge and making it really beefy, but the truth is that post is not going to be there for long. Eventually this will all be converted over to pipe, hopefully in the next year or two. So because of that, I don't really see a good reason to reinvent the wheel here. Let's just stick with a design that works and just beef it up a little bit. And with all that being said, I do not have new hinge pieces, nor do I have 3/4 inch all thread, but the hardware store does. So let's go there. You guys wait here. Well, the hardware store did not have 3/4 inch gate hardware, and I don't know why. I feel like I've seen it in there before, but maybe not. I could be mistaken. Maybe it doesn't even exist. Nevertheless, I've got all the pieces that I need to make the pieces that I want. And after we stop by the winter pasture to drop off some salt for those cows, we'll go back to the shop and do that. Well, I think they heard the truck and thought I was bringing them a bale. They might be a little disappointed that it's just a salt block. All right, well, disappointed is not the word I would use. They actually seem really happy to get that, which I think is funny because they haven't been out of salt that long. In fact, I don't even think they are completely out of salt, but this is the first block from the new shipment that I just got this year. You know, maybe they like it. This year, I sent in pasture and feed samples to Redmond, and they mixed me up a custom salt block that specifically is tailored to my environment and what my pastures are offering the cattle. In other words, that block supplements them for all the things that the grass isn't giving them. This is a service that Redmond will do for anybody. It wasn't just a special favor for me, and if you're interested in something like that, there's contact info in the description below. These blocks also have garlic in them for fly suppression, and what I have found is that when you're using garlic salt in that way, that the best way to do it is to just keep the cows on it all the time. Like right now, we're towards the tail end of winter. Flies are not an issue. It's too cold for them and they don't bother the cows, but I still like to keep feeding the cows garlic salt just to keep it in their system so that when the flies do wake up, which is right around the corner, that they'll already have that going for them. Another thing that I've been keeping my eyes out for here lately is for any cows that might be bagging up. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, then you'll remember that this past breeding season, I turned the bulls out a little bit later to push calves out a little bit later. So really, we shouldn't get calves until the later part of March. But if you've been with the channel, you may also remember that prior to turning out the bulls, we had the Bismarck bull calf that was out with the cows because he was still on his mom. And I noticed that there was a time right before we weaned him that he was chasing cows around and trying to ride them. Now, I'm pretty sure that he was too little to get the job done, but there's no guarantee of that. So if he was successful in his adventures, then we would probably be seeing the results of that about now. And I don't see any cows bagging up. We haven't had any surprise calves. So cross your fingers, knock on wood. I think we dodged a bullet on that one, but it's well, it's something that's been in the back of my mind. Well, everything appears to be fine here, but man, I'm wondering how much of that salt block's gonna be left in the morning. That should be everything I need. Let's see what we can throw together. I did throw these together rather quickly, but I think they're gonna work. They're gonna definitely be stronger than the old ones. Will they be strong enough is the question that I can't yet answer. I used 3/4 inch all thread to make these, and then I've got this little piece of 1 inch round tube welded to the nut. That's just gonna act as an additional support. And once we get these put into the post and get the gate hung up, I think it'll make more sense as to what I've envisioned here. So let's go do that. You guys look like you're ready to take a ride. All right, let's go. First thing we gotta do is open these holes up to 3/4. Now, is my bit going all the way through? Looks good. If I measured everything right, this is going to be real slick. And if I didn't, then it's not. How hot is that? Not too bad. A little bit hot. That's where it needs to be. So now you see inside the round tube is just all thread. It's not welded to anything, so I can still use the nuts to adjust this in or out, and then the round tube just gives it extra support. So this should be pretty strong. Hopefully strong enough. This is the real test, is do the pins put the gate in the right spot? Because it's kind of critical on this one. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Now, that there. I'm gonna just try to put the pin in the latch and have that hold the gate up for me. And that should hold it in the perfect spot. If, yeah, it should. I'm gonna get the bottom one tight first because it pretty much shouldn't move, and then we can use the top one to adjust everything, I think. It's weird, this doesn't work. The new hinge pieces are holding this gate exactly where it needs to be. It's not touching the bottom of the latch or the top of the latch, which is perfect. But you notice I still have trouble closing it, and I think the reason is that the latch itself is not mounted perpendicular to the gate. In other words, it closes on it on an angle, and I don't think it's really designed to work that way, because it clearly doesn't. This isn't a big deal, because if I just manually pick the little latch piece up, the gate closes no problem, and then I can drop it again. And the way that I use this gate, I don't really need to slam it to close it. You know, like maybe if you were running cows back through here and you needed to slam a gate behind them to stop them from turning around. That's not really how this is used. It's more just to funnel them into the loading chute, so when they make it to this point, the gate will already be set and closed and we won't have to worry. I'm pretty happy with the way everything looks. Obviously we won't know how good this is until it actually is put to the test, but it's certainly better than what was here, and I suspect that now if a cow was to run into this gate or something like that, more likely we're going to damage the post instead of the pins. I don't know if that's good or not, but well, let's just say more likely we're not going to damage anything. It'll just be able to take it. I also notice when I open and close the gate that it swings so much more smoothly, and that could be from a couple reasons. For one, our new pins are the proper size for these holes, so of course things are going to move more freely. But also the new pieces that I just made are straighter, so when things are moving, everything's in line and it's not fighting against itself as you try to open and close the gate. I don't plan on having to use this gate really anytime soon, but it is one of those things that when you need it, you need it. And I'm trying to get better about staying on top of things like that, because I know for a lot of years I just did not have the time to keep up on these sorts of repairs, and I would kind of put them off until I reached a point where it was like I needed to use that alleyway, or I needed to use, you know, whatever it might be. And I remember when I was a kid that my grandpa would fix things as soon as they broke, no matter when he was going to need to use them again. And as I get older, I now see the wisdom in that, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do now. Because after all, while I may not plan on using this loading alley anytime soon, sometimes the plan changes. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.